Good morning and welcome to Free Advice Friday. My name is Keri Barnum for New Shelves Books, and we are here to talk about publishing, marketing, and the business of being an author. We do come online every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. You can join us by going to newshelves.com/FAF. It's free to join. You do have to register to join our Zoom live. You can also watch the replays over at New Shelves Books on YouTube. So we're going to go ahead and get started. We have a question in the chat that I wanted to cover. All right, let's see. Do you have any tips for authors to maintain momentum when life gets crazy and in the way? Social media interaction, writing, book reviews, attending events, etc. I get this question a lot, and the thing is that it's a lot. Whether you are, I find a lot of authors have a hard time juggling. I need to write the next book, but I need to keep marketing. I need to keep doing social media. But if I'm on social media, I'm not writing, or I get sucked in, and suddenly I watch 5 hours of videos. Hopefully not, but yeah, some people do. And so it can be very hard to maintain that balance. So I usually recommend that authors who are trying to juggle the balance of all the things or who are getting overwhelmed to create some kind of schedule that works for them or find their motivating factor. So I like to say if you had 10 minutes a day, every day, either Monday through Friday or 7 days a week, whatever works for you, if you had 10 minutes a day, how would you split that up? Maybe on Monday, you would do social media and you would schedule your content out as much as you could for 10 minutes. And when that 10 minutes was up, it's up. You did what you could do. On Tuesday, it's writing. So you're going to write just 10 minutes, just write as much as you can, or take a piece, a chunk, and edit it, whatever it is. If you go over, it's okay, but you're only committing 10 minutes. You set a timer if you want. If you truly only have 10 minutes, do it. Then on, that was Monday and Tuesday. On Wednesday, we're going to go back to more kind of marketing type tasks. Okay, can you pitch 3 emails to libraries to sell your books? It's only going to take 10 minutes. And then on Thursday, we're going to go back to writing. So now you're going to go back to writing in 10-minute sprint. Just do it. And then on Friday, you say, it's going to be my editing day. Everything that I wrote on those last 2 days in that 10 minutes period, I'm going to review and edit on Friday. And what I often find is number one, when we break it up into these manageable chunks of everyone has 10 minutes, I promise you, I sit and stare off into space more than 10 minutes a day. You have 10 minutes. And so by using a 10 minutes, it's something very achievable. And if that's all you do is 10 minutes, you're still doing more than you were. And you're starting to train yourself to show up every day. And if you do more than 10 minutes. If you're writing and you set your timer for 10 minutes and you're like, wow, I don't actually have to leave for 20 minutes. Let me keep writing, which often happens. Then you keep on writing. It's okay to go over, but the idea is that you are setting not just 10 minutes aside, but you're setting 10 minutes aside with a specific task because some of it is we're overwhelmed. If I say, all right, on Fridays, I'm going to do 10 minutes of marketing, it's too broad. I will sit here for 10 minutes trying to think of all the marketing things I have to do. Whereas if I say social media on Monday, library pitches on Wednesday, and on Saturdays when I'm going to tweak my ads and look at my ads, that's something that I can immediately hop on. I can set a timer and I can start and I can finish. And so setting these really attainable goals is something that I've seen work well. Now, for people who are maybe like, well, I have more than 10 minutes, I have 30 minutes a day, fantastic. Still give yourself some kind of a schedule or a goal so you know what you're doing each of those days. Because by doing that, you really get, again, you're showing up for yourself. You're not left wondering, what do I do today? You know exactly what you're going to do. I have some people who will just set the day of the week as like that general heading. I have some people who will sit down with a calendar and when they're scheduling all their activities for the month, they will literally on their calendar write what each day is for. Newsletter is on the 15th. On Tuesday, the 12th, I'm going to be doing my Amazon ads. On this, I'm going to be doing that. And they actually say specifically what they're doing on different days of the week. And that works okay too. The idea is that you're setting an appointment with yourself, you're training yourself to show up, and you're getting something accomplished, which feeds that part of the brain that likes reward because you're not just saying, well, I was supposed to market my book, but all I did was scroll Facebook. You're saying I had 10 minutes. I got in there and I went into Meta and I scheduled posts for the next 2 weeks. And I showed up for myself. I got some type of reward, and your brain likes that. So I really recommend that authors do that. And it helps because I think you're again getting trained. Now, know how your mind works or ask someone else how your mind works. I have a client who has had a major move and some really big things happen while they're writing their next book. And I kind of was like, I had that tough love, like, okay, I was nice while you moved and your life was up in the air, but now you're where you need to be and it's time to write. And I know that this particular person really likes to have a goal. They like spreadsheets and to track things. So I was like, okay, I want you to write every day and I want you to track it in a spreadsheet. And don't you know, they came back with a spreadsheet with goals. And if I need it to be done by this date, I've got to write this many words. And they, as accountability, they send it to me every week before we have our meetings where we talk and talk through things. And by doing that, there is a accountability system, there's a motivation, there's a reward. And because it's a spreadsheet, it turns red if you don't do what you're supposed to do, like if you don't meet your word count. Um, and for that person, it's highly motivating. For me, if I don't meet something on a spreadsheet, I am one of those people who's like, meh, didn't make it today. Not a big deal. If I know someone's depending on me, if I know someone I'm going to be on a call and someone's waiting for that from me, I will get it done. So what I need is I need to have accountability where someone actually needs something or is going to check up on something. It's why when I work with clients, I typically have pre-scheduled calls because I then know, hey, we're going to meet on these days, and that helps keep me on track. So that's one of the things to consider is what makes you tick. And if you're not quite sure what motivates you or like what kind of motivation usually works on you, ask the people around you. I bet they probably know. And exactly, these little tiny, we just need little goals. And if I say I'm going to write a book by November, that's awesome, but that's a really big task. And that means that I don't get that that sense of, wow, I did something awesome until November. That's a really long delay. So if I am going to be giving myself these little chunks of, I'm going to write X number of words per day until November, I'm getting that reward system in my brain every day or every writing day that I set up. So it totally just depends. And know yourself, set something up that works for you, and give yourself a specific agenda. Don't leave yourself wondering, what do I do for marketing? Sit down, think of 10 marketing tasks that you can do in 10 minutes, or at least start in 10 minutes. Maybe maybe say the first week of the month on Monday, I'm going to find social media content or create social media content. On Wednesday, I'm going to schedule it. On Friday, I'm going to interact. I don't care what it is, but find what works for you and give yourself measurable tasks that are specific enough that you're not left kind of wondering and just sitting going, well, I'm doing my marketing, but you're really not. And I find that to be helpful for myself. And I find most authors and writers do that as well. Yeah. And then you're not so overwhelmed. That's exactly right, Beth, is that we're often paralyzed with the big projects. So make it a little project. See, how valuable is it for authors to have a Substack newsletter? I'm considering moving over to that platform from a dormant Squarespace blog and have heard lots of stories of success from authors. What are you seeing with authors? Beth, good question. I will say that traditional blogs are becoming less and less relevant, in my opinion. The idea behind Substack is that you're kind of connecting or merging a newsletter and a blog. And it is the new form of the blog. It's that you're sending out the blog to people. People aren't very often subscribing to blogs any longer and going and checking it. I remember there was a blog years ago that I used to love. And every Sunday morning, I would go and check that blog and see what was new because I loved it. People don't really do that anymore, not often anyway. So something like Substack allows you to blog essentially, but actually send it directly to readers. Substack, as we know, is free. And then if you sell on the platform, then they get a percentage of sales. So for some people, it works really well. One of the things I would consider with Substack is that you don't truly own your audience all the way. You know, that's one of the things to think about is if something happened, if you got kicked off Substack, would you be able to take your audience with you? In some cases, it means you just need to back up the names and the addresses regularly. And also, what's your goal with it? But for some authors, I think it can be helpful. I do not think, though, and I will say this, I do not think Substack replaces a website. I still think you need a website where people can find you online. Substack, for some people, has been fantastic. It's a newer platform, but it seems to be doing very well. And so I think it can be great, but also know that you still have to build it. Substack does some like recommendations and other people can do it, but it's one of those things that you still have to build it. It's not like people just automatically sign up for your Substack. You have to be consistent as well, especially if you're doing any paid subscriptions. By the way, Substack gets a portion of the profits if you do a paid subscription. And then just know you have to deliver. If people sign up for your newsletter because they're going to get a monthly information filled newsletter, you better deliver every month on time or else you're not delivering what someone paid for. So it's a little bit different than when you're just connecting with your audience. So some things you need to consider. I do think that Substack definitely works better, in my opinion, for nonfiction authors who do have kind of topics that they might want to blog or share information on more regularly. I've seen a lot more success in the nonfiction space than I have in the fiction space for Substack personally. Now, if you're online and you've had different experiences, certainly let me know. But me personally, that's what I've seen. And so I would consider that for sure on whether or not it's right for you. Um, like I personally, I still use MailChimp, and that's because I have a huge mailing list, but I do a lot of selling through it and you can't sell through Substack or they get a cut. So that's one of the things to consider. And what's your size? How will it move over? What's your plan for keeping that Substack active? I think are all questions to ask to know whether or not it's a good fit for you. I know Bob Exene uses it. Um, and let's see, Bob's saying most important thing to know is to change the credit card listing as your newsletter. Otherwise, people will not know what they are being charged for and dispute the charge. I remember Bob saying that is that if you do have a paid subscription, it'll like do a charge and people don't necessarily know what it's for. So you definitely want to change that. That's a good tip. And I know Bob uses it. I know several agents who use Substack. Again, nonfiction authors, I'm seeing success, but not as much with the fiction side. Maybe that just means fiction people haven't moved over as much because they don't tend to do a lot of blogging. Not really sure, but it's something to consider. Our blog posts are chapters posted of books in progress as written. Each chapter enjoys several thousand reads and huge numbers of comments and audience. I think that if you are doing that, you can certainly do it under a subscription and something like that. Again, it all depends on how you're currently using your newsletter and your blog and what you hope to accomplish with it. If you are hoping to accomplish, a true blog experience, great. If you want a newsletter to sell and update your readers just when you have something coming out, that's completely different. So you've got to kind of decide what works for you. And if you're using a newsletter subscription service, there's of course MailChimp, Constant Contact, there is ConvertKit. There's a bunch of them out there with varying prices. And of course, everything's going up because as there's, more competition or um, as new things come up or just as, everyone imagine it. Everyone is just raising their prices. It's like life happens like that. How dare they? I wanted to show you guys something because I thought it was really cool because we were talking about social media. I wanted to show you something that I discovered recently. And if you do have more questions, drop them in the chat. I will still do them. But I wanted to show you this. I think it's pretty cool. Well, of course, it's going to take forever to get in now. Okay. Well, I'll answer the next question because my internet's being funny because it's been that kind of day. All right, let's see. Jen is asking if I sell an ebook on Amazon, what is their cut? I've heard that if we price our ebook higher than $9.99, Amazon will take more. That is correct. So you typically want to price your book. If your book is under $2.99, if it's like $2, $1.99, 99 cents, then the cut is that you get 35% of the retail cost. So let's call it $1, you get 35 cents. Amazon gets the rest, but there's no delivery fee. If you then have your book priced between $2.99 and $9.99, there's a delivery fee, and the delivery fee can be change. I mean, it can be 20 cents or it can be higher. It depends on how big your files are. So if you have like a cookbook or something that's really got a lot of images in it, the delivery fee is higher than if it's like a novel. But there's a delivery fee that comes out, and then you get 70% rather than 35. So ideally, most people want to be at 2.99 to 9.99, pay the delivery fee, and take the 70 cents. I'm sorry, 70%. Now, on the opposite way, if you are let's say you have a high delivery fee, you have a cookbook or something like that. Then in that case, if you have a book that costs a lot to deliver, you need to see the delivery cost. In most cases, depending on the price of your book, it still makes more sense um, to actually just take the higher percentage and pay the delivery fee. But I've seen in some rare cases where an author's trying to sell their book at like $4.99. And if you're selling your book at $4.99 and the delivery fee is $2 and you're only getting the delivery fee is $2, but then you're getting 70%, sometimes it doesn't actually equal out with the math, that it makes sense that you would take that and it would make more sense to go with, the lower percentage, the 35%, but to not pay the delivery fee. So all of these, if you're in KDP, by the way, you can push these buttons and you can kind of figure out from there what it is. They do give you those options and you can view it there. And the other question was, is there a resource to understand Audible's royalties for audiobooks? Our authors are concerned about their royalties since someone can have a membership with credits. Yes, and those royalty payments have just recently updated and changed, especially with how the credits work. Um, Let me see if I can find, we talked about this a couple weeks ago, um, and how it has changed. I'm dropping my microphone because of course I am. So the way that it typically works is that for an outright sale on Audible, you are going to get 40% if your book is exclusive to Audible, Amazon, and iTunes. If it's non-exclusive, then you get 25% on retail sales um, for Audible, Amazon, and iTunes. Now, if it's a royalty share, then that's different. If you're splitting royalty shares with the producer or with the narrator, different things like that, then you get a different percentage. Now, for the credit system, that is what has recently changed, as well as ACX is now doing the new royalties. They are paying more often. They used to hold payments for a really long time. So the new royalty model is Audible takes a member's plan value, whether it's plus or premium, and adds the value of any additional credits used, then divides that value among the titles the member listened to over the course of the month. So if you have your book in one of their different programs, that's how it's figured out. So it's kind of like paid reads where you're getting a percentage of. I am going to drop, Audible did a whole article on this, so I'm going to drop it into the chat here. So if you want to actually, it is a lot to digest. You are so right. It's a lot of information. It's a lot to digest. If you want to kind of dig into that further, I did drop the link into the chat so that you can do that. It's a pretty long article. It's pretty comprehensive. But no, it just recently changed. It's supposed to be a little bit better for authors, but it's too soon to tell. And also just know that they do pay more for people that are exclusive to them. Audible has some of the worst payment terms, honestly, but they have a big part of the market. So I can say that I don't think they have as much of a monopoly, I'll call it, as like for ebooks or even print books on Amazon. However, it's still a huge part of the market. So if you're not using Audible, I do think it would hurt the average author not to have their book available. But royalties are kind of a doozy on that way. Oh, Beth has this question. What if your book is listed for more than $9.99? My publisher just raised all our ebooks to $12.99. So this is different. If your book is priced over $12.99, it means you're not on KDP. And it means that you're going through an outside distributor. And the outside distributor, if you go to $12.99, that outside distributor, let's say you're working through, I don't know, Draft to Digital, or you're working through Ingram Spark, that distributor may have worked out terms specifically for them and their clients. So it would depend on that. For example, publishers typically work out specific terms for their books with Amazon. And so what a HarperCollins author gets at $12.99, or what the publisher gets, might be different than what another publisher gets. So once we go higher, it is typically less percentage, but that's when we tend to see more specialized contracts. And so you would have to see what happens there dependent on your publisher and what their agreements are. The average person who's like on KDP and things like that, it's not going to allow you to go over $9.99. And if you are a self-publishing author, I don't recommend you go over $9.99, because if you are using like Ingram Spark, you don't tend to actually make more. You make about the same because the difference in percentage. So you make about the same, but your book is then more expensive. It doesn't usually work out in the author publisher's favor, in my opinion. Is there an app you recommend to build your website? I am by no means a website guru. I will say that as far as websites go, I think Wix is one of the easiest to build. If you have a Wix website, that platform is one of the easiest. So I often recommend that because it's got a lot of templates. I think it's user friendly. It does not have tons of capability. Like WordPress, in my opinion, has more capabilities if you're connecting a store and all sorts of things like that. But most authors don't need that. So I do enjoy Wix quite a bit for an easy website. What if my print book is $24.99? What would an ebook cost? Well, that depends on what your genre is. Excuse me. It depends on what your genre is, what your book is. So very often, though, we tend to see books that are around a third to a fourth of the cost from print to ebook. So a $24.99 book, I would generally expect to see somewhere around the $9.99 price point, but it does depend on the contents and the comps. Are you a nonfiction book and everyone's kind of priced between that $7.99 and $12.99 space? Is this a fiction title and most people are selling it $2.99 to $7.99? That's certainly going to play a part in that. Yes, you can absolutely do direct sales through your website as well. Do I recommend exploring direct sales if your ebooks are exclusive to Amazon, or is it not worth the setup, running cost? You can't do your ebooks direct if your books are in Kindle Unlimited or Kindle Select for Kindle Unlimited. It means that you have signed an exclusive agreement with Amazon that they're the only ones allowed to sell your ebooks, and that includes yourself. So you cannot sell direct if you're in Kindle Unlimited. You would be in breach of those terms of service. That's a good way to get your books taken down. So you cannot do that. But if you are exclusive for your ebooks and you want to do like your paperbacks and your audiobooks direct, the questions I would ask myself is, how are you driving traffic to your website? How are you delivering, and how easy is it? Audiobooks are actually pretty easy now that we have things like BookFunnel can now take sales and delivery of audiobooks. That's pretty easy to set up, to get a button and set up on your website. I will say, as I recently found out, you can no longer set up PayPal for payment through BookFunnel. You have to use something like BookHip. There's a couple other plugins, but PayPal is no longer an option. That was a little bit frustrating for me for the book funnel delivery system for audiobooks. But getting an audiobook set up for direct sale is not that hard if it's not exclusive. So you can certainly do that. If your ebook is not exclusive, getting that set up again through BookFunnel is pretty easy. And so you can absolutely do that. Now, if you are doing print books, the question I would ask yourself is, are you willing and able to deliver quickly? So if someone orders, we are a society that has been accustomed to Amazon. So if I order a book on Tuesday, I'm kind of expecting it by Thursday. And so the question is, are you willing to be available that when books are ordered, are you going to be able to ship them quickly? Does it make sense for you? What, by the time you add up the cost to order the books, keep them, and then actually ship and sell them, are you making more profit than otherwise? You may say, I'm not making more profit, but I am getting my reader's name and information. And so I'm building it there. So it's got a different benefit. That's fine. Is that benefit worth your time? Are you available to print and ship on a regular basis? Do you travel a lot? If so, do you have someone else who's going to be shipping your books while you're not available and different things? So I think it's something you have to look beyond. I will say, the trend of direct sales makes it sound like it is the golden ticket to making more money as an indie author, and everyone should do it. I don't personally agree with that. I think direct sales can be a huge moneymaker. However, it is a huge amount of setup, and each author needs to decide what their goals are and how that's going to affect their goals, how the time, the money to put into it. I've seen authors dump $50,000 into setting up direct sales, and then they didn't want to do the ongoing work of marketing to push to their direct sales channels. So then they got it all set up, then they're not marketing, they're not getting customers in, they are then not selling. And so that $50,000 setup doesn't work for them. So I don't think that it works for everyone. I don't think it's something everyone needs to do. I think you really need to look and see how it benefits you, what you hope to get out of it, and work from there. I'd like to have a free printout design on my website. Is that feasible? Absolutely. You can do a free download, like a PDF download with a lot of websites. They have that feature available. You can use something like BookFunnel to collect email addresses and do a free printout. In most cases, actually, I recommend, actually all cases, I recommend that authors not only have an email capture on their website, but I recommend in most cases that they give away something of value. For a nonfiction author, that could be, a checklist. For a fiction author, it could be a short story that leads into their series. It could be a free short story audiobook, um, different things. But we see our emails as currency. And so I do recommend that you offer something in return for their email contact, and a free printable for a children's book, a word search, and activity pages that maybe have some math involved, or different things like that, I think are a really great way to go. So I do recommend that. And most websites do have the ability to do this. If you have something like MailChimp, they have availability to create a landing page that does this. If you have BookFunnel, you can do it. So there's a lot of different resources to do it that way. All right. I wanted to show you guys. I think I got all the questions. If you have more questions, drop them in. But this thing finally worked. And so I wanted to show you guys what it is because I think it's pretty cool. All right. So I'm going to share my screen in just a minute. I will share my screen just as soon as I find my buttons. Yeah, for some people, direct sales is fantastic. All right. You guys may have heard about this thing recently. This is this author, it's called Author Social Assistant, and it is from the people who created Mock-Up Shots. And you guys know I love Mock-Up Shots. Mock-Up Shots is a program where you can take your book cover and it puts it into like 3D form, with transparent background. It puts it in different backgrounds. Your book can be at the beach. Your book can be in different places. Your book can have dragons around it. And it's a really cool marketing tool because we know that images sell on social media. So having images with our social media means that we're more likely to sell. And so they have come up with this thing called Author Social Assistant, where it creates social media for you. And you guys know that if something new comes out, I'm like, I must try it before I talk about it. And so I got it and I've been trying it out. And I wanted to show it to you, especially because in the beginning of our call, we were talking about how to like set your social media, or when you're feeling overwhelmed, how do you do something quickly? And with this thing, you actually can create a social media plan in like 5 or 10 minutes, which I thought was really interesting, with some caveats, because you know I'm going to give you my honest opinion. So this is the actual thing, but I am logged in because I logged in. So it's really easy when you do this. You kind of just upload a book. So here you can see I have The Dawning, which is a fiction title. If you buy it, the initial price right now, just through the end of this month, it's $77. I upgraded, I paid $120 so I can have as many books as I want. But 77 for just one book. And here, so I want to add a book, let's just say. It's really easy to do. I'm going to click this and then I'm going to upload a file. So I can drop in a logo. So for example, if I was doing this for new shelves, I would add in the new shelves logo and they would include it on some of the images. I can upload my book cover. So I'm just going to select and I'm showing you my laundry here in the back end and all the things I have. I am going to grab Marsha's book, Little Giant, and I'm going to just drop that in, super easy. And then I have to put in the book title. So I will do that. And this is not typically all your subtitle, just the book. And then the book description. Super easy. I'm just going to come over here and I am going to grab the actual description. Now, if it's your book and you have a long summary and you want to put more things in there, absolutely. I'm not doing that at this point. And then it's got a max of 600 characters, which I hit. That's fine. So I'm going to click all done, let the magic begin. And then we have this cute little wizard who is almost a little creepy, honestly. And I'll show you what I like about it. It literally created using kind of an algorithm that they figured out a whole month of social media for August. Now you can see that we've got humor post, quote post, engagement post, and promotion post. So they've kind of mixed it up, which is nice. Now they have also given us suggested wording and a graphic for each of these things. And so it changes, and based on your book description and things like that, it will change this. I will show you how with another book it's different. And so on this, you can see here, it's got a whole month, it's got a graphic, it's got some videos in there, it's got some questions on here, memes, different things like that, which I like. Now it's got like this. It's got this little video that has Little Giant in with this mask. I personally would not use that. So do I think it's a one size fits all? I do not. I think it gives you ideas. I think it gives you a nice schedule. And I do think that it gives you some good things. Like this one is cute, like in case of boredom, break glass. I like that part. Some of these memes or questions are good. Now, would I recommend that anyone literally take this plan and just download them and upload them to, let's say that you're going to schedule with Meta for Facebook and Instagram? Would I recommend that someone just, well, here's my plan and let me do it? I do not, because what you will notice is that there are some good quotes or some interesting things. What you will notice is that some of these things are maybe not on brand. Some of these things don't fit the book, and some of these things you may not like. The other thing that we're missing is none of this is personal. Now, I will say that on pages and social media channels, you don't always have to have your face. You don't always have to be personal. Memes do really, really well on social media. And I like that they give you this. However, I would personally recommend taking this, taking what you like from it, and then the days that you don't like things or it doesn't work, putting in your other social media content, whether it be a book review where you're reviewing another book in your genre or something else. But these are really great filler posts, in my opinion, and they're great idea markers because we know that social media thrives on algorithm. And so posting regularly is actually very important. And so if you're like, man, I have a hard time coming up with content every day, I think this is a really cool tool to give you a starting point and post in between. So I might take this calendar and say, well, I don't like this one, so I'm going to change it, or I don't like that one, I'm going to change it. And it does go by the month. So you can do next month. And they update this just like Mockup Shots is updated regularly. They update this regularly. So, and it also gives you like some hashtags and things. It's done some research for you, and I'll show you that in a minute. So, these things again, would I say absolutely these are all on brand? No. Would I use them all? No, I sure wouldn't. But I think it's got some great content in there. It is different. It does put your book on there, and that's pretty cool. It also gives you, again, you can also create different things like a voiceover ad, and it's got some other tools that I think are cool. You can do book hashtags, and it will pull like some uh, popular hashtags that you can use. Like if you have a really hard time for that, I don't think that hashtags really matter that much on Facebook, but on Instagram they do for sure. So that's interesting. And then you can change the book essentially. So again, if you bought the 77 or if you buy the $77 one, it's just for one book, to my understanding. I upgraded, and that price is good through the end of this month. I want to make sure I say that. So if someone watches this after, they're not like, Keri, you lied to me. Um, but for $120, I got multiple books. So I'm going to change the book and make this my default. And it will actually change some of the content based on that description and some of the wording for things. It will change there. Let's see. And no, it's not 77 7 I can't talk. It is not $77 per year. It is $77 for a lifetime access. That is one of the things I really like about this company, and I'm going to drop it in here. It is an affiliate link. I do not try to hide that, but again, I'm telling you what I like and what I don't like. Do I think it's a fix all? Do I think you can use it and just upload all your social media and it's kind of sold that way, of course, because of marketing as like, this is the only social assistant you ever need. Just upload your book and then drop it in. Do I think that's actually true? No. I think it's a great starting point and a great tool. And at $77 for one book or the 120 for multiple books, um, I personally think that it could be a great asset, certainly less than having a personal assistant who will pull memes and things for you because I've worked with those for some authors and pay them a lot more and you don't necessarily get that much more than what this is pulling, to be honest. Now, of course, they can do many other things, but um, so that's good. Yeah, it's lifetime access for that $77, which I mean, I think again, we know I like to have all the things, but I also like to do an honest review of that. So let me pull this up. Um, Can you also upload photographs that are pertinent to my advertising history? I don't know. It allows you to upload like yes, you can put your logo in there. So if you have a branded logo or a publishing company, I could see this doing very well for like a self-publishing company or a small press who is trying to do some social media content. Um, oh yes, if you don't use my link, it's $2.97. My special link gives you the discount. Thank you, Sim, for pointing that out. I knew it was more expensive if not used. But so CJ, the guy who actually has developed this, has given me a link where it's $77 for lifetime access. If you just go to their website, it's $2.97, and even my link will go to $2.97 after the first. So you can't necessarily adjust all of these images, no. And that's what I'm saying. Some of them are good, some of them are not. And now some of them are ideas. Maybe Here, so notice again, this is different content than we saw with the other nonfiction book. It changed up the content. Similar schedule, but the actual memes and everything are just different based on this book, opposed to the other book, description and genre and all of those things. So it does change it up. Um, and you can't necessarily change everything. Now, what I would say, again, to me, this is a starting point. I might say, I really love this. Me heading to the hangout with my favorite book. Maybe I love this, but I don't love the background image. I could go make my own in Canva. It could be inspiration. Not all of it's going to be a great fit. You cannot go in here and edit different images here. You can do that voiceover feature for creating a voiceover ad. I haven't tried that as much. There's bonus images and different things like that. But for 77 bucks, I think it gives you pretty good value. And again, it's lifetime. It's got next month, last month, and it's got a lot of different things. And it does change by the month. So let me push that. The special ends, I'm kind of late to the game, but this does end at this cost. It ends at the end of this month. So today and tomorrow are the last days to use that link at a discount. You can buy it anytime. It'll just go up to the 297 for the normal price rather than the 77 and upgrading to 120 for multiple books. So I always like to I, I hate I hate to just say, wow, someone's offering something good and I could be an affiliate for it. Let me send it out. I like you guys to know what you're getting. And if this works for you, great. Again, I want to just point out that this month's social media for September is different than the other book I pulled. So it's got a lot of different things in there. And a lot of what drives this, by the way, is your description. So if you have a nonfiction book, putting that in your summary is really important to kind of drive that. So anyway, I don't think it's a, wow, let me just pull their month, upload. To my knowledge, at the moment, it's not integrated. So you can't like schedule directly from here. You would have to download and then actually upload to Meta. But if you've ever done Meta for scheduling, let me actually show you. So if I was going to, I must be going into a Meta that's not mine. Let's try that in just a minute. So if I was going to say, okay, I'm going to pull this and I like it, I would download different things. Now I can, ooh, what's this? What can I do when I do? You guys, I didn't even know this was a thing. It's got like a Canva in it. Ooh, so you can change different things. Oh, I didn't know this. Like, I'm like a minion here as I discover something new. You can change and adjust it right in here. I didn't know this was a thing. This is even better than I thought. Um, yeah, so you can adjust it and change it. It's kind of like a Canva for this program, and you can change these things. I'm really excited about that. So apparently you can edit. And then once you edit these things, or once you decide you're doing something different, then you would download it and then you would schedule it. Um, yes, it is so great, isn't it? I'm gonna have to like grab a screenshot of my face at the moment I discovered that because I'm sure I looked hilarious. But anyway, so I would download it. Let's say I edit this, I change it, I download the image, and I'm like, I'm gonna take maybe I take their caption, maybe I'm gonna take their own. I don't know if you've noticed, but Facebook now has AI captions too, where you can put in a caption and then you can like change it to be more exciting and different things. So feel as you feel about AI, but if you need help or you're feeling a little stuck on captions, you can definitely change those things. So, anyway, I would just do this. I would go over to Facebook and I would go to Meta Facebook and go to new shelves here. I have a lot of profiles. All right. So I would then go over to my new shelves page. Uh, Look, who knew? All right, so here, and then I'm going to go to scheduling. So let me go to my page. When you go to schedule something on Facebook, if I would like to write a post, whoops, of course I'm doing this live. So you get to see me like fail live in action, which is always fun. Um, why I do a lot of stuff from my phone. So when I have to like not do from my phone, I absolutely struggle. But I want to go to post, Meta Business Suite. That's where I want to go. So I could pull my whole month or I could pull a week, whatever it is. Oh, I don't want your notification. Thank you. You go to Planner over here. So you go to your Meta Business Suite and you go to Planner. From here, you can schedule your different posts. So I could then click on, well, I can't schedule for tomorrow or for yesterday. So I can schedule and I can schedule a post, a story, a reel. I can schedule all sorts of things. And you can schedule, I think it's for 6 weeks out. So I can schedule the day. I have my Facebook and my Instagram linked. So I could schedule them, but I could say, I want this to go out at 10 a.m. and I want this to go out at different times. And it'll give me suggested active times. So I could say, all right, I'm good with this. And then I can upload my image that I just got from the social assistant, add photo or video. And then I can drop in my little text that I just copied. And then just like that, I can, well, if I click on the right button at the right time, I can do it. But I obviously struggle. I can go in, make sure it's all good. I can schedule for Facebook and it will be scheduled in there. So I could use the social assistant. And one of my 10-minute days, I could say, hey, I'm going to go into social assistant. I am going to look at everything, grab the images I want. That's my 10 minutes. That's all I've got. But in 2 days, when I come back for social media, I'm going to get on to Meta Business Suite and I'm going to schedule an entire month of social media with this filler kind of post. And then I'm going to do some of my more personal posts or videos throughout other times. And then in that way, you really can create social media content for a month in literally minutes. And you can optimize it and all that kind of stuff. So it doesn't schedule for you, but it certainly connects into it. I know. I didn't know it was so exciting. Who knew? Facebook does always change their interface as well. All right, let's see. Make sure I got questions because I saw there. Oops. I don't think I did that good. So now, yes, you can modify content, Karen. Now we know. And the discount goes away. They have not told me. They said September 1st, but I think it means it goes away like before September 1st. So you'd have to grab it today or tomorrow. I'm sorry it's late notice. I did actually know about it previously. They sent me this information. You might have even seen it from some other people in the industry. They sent it to us a while ago. I just wasn't comfortable sharing it until I had tried it and shared kind of, again, what I really think it's worth and everything like that. So I'll put that on there again for the link. Yeah, like I said, sometimes it's sold as like one thing, and I do think it's a fantastic thing. I'm not trying to say I don't, but with anything, I like to kind of know as much as I can. When I get feedback that something doesn't work or something like that, I want to make sure that I am honest with you guys, not just because I can make a buck off of something, but does it work and how does it work and what's the true value of it? Like, can it do all the things? Can it replace things or not? So, there it is, you guys. Nah, I don't mind looking kind of silly on screen with you guys because I think you guys should know, like, no, people don't just find a new software and immediately know how to use it. You kind of click buttons and find magical things. And sometimes you mess up and you have to start over. No, so the discounts for both. I don't know if you don't use the link. If it's 77 if you use the discount link for one book. If you do multiple books, it's 120, and that's a discount as well. If you do it full price, let me see what that is. If you do it full price, it's 297. It does have a 30-day money back guarantee, by the way, which I appreciate. It's 297. If you update, it doesn't even give me the option. Oh, upgrade. Upgrade to Pro for only $43. I should have shared my screen for this part. Hang on. Hang on. This is for, all right. So if you don't get the discount, it is 297 rather than you'll see that it says 297 here. On the one I showed you that has my special little code at the top. And I did set it up so if you go to newshelves.com/social assistant, it'll bring you here just because it's a long ID there. This one, as you can see, $77. It says 10 hours. I had heard September 1st, but it says 10 hours. So it's discounted. But if you do the full price, it's 297, and then it's $43 to upgrade. And the upgrade is multiple books and authors, auto brand every image with your logo, and lifetime access to AI voiceover book ads. So at 297, then $43, you guys know I'm terrible at math, but that's $340. Whereas if you do it in the next 10 hours with the link that I have, the special link, $77 for the basic. And then if you upgrade it, ends up being $120 because that's what I bought. So there's that. All right, I'll stop sharing, see if we have any more questions. Yes, when you click on, like if you click on the 77 to add to your cart, the upgrade comes when it's in your cart afterwards. No, the money back guarantee just means that like if you get in there and you're like, wow, it doesn't have the features I thought, or it's not what I thought it was, I can get it back. Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna capture this, Marsha, so that I can try to remember. All right, you guys. I grabbed the two questions that just came in because we are at 11 o'clock and I do have to run my kids somewhere today. But I grabbed them for next week. Thank you guys for hanging out, even though it was kind of a weird, crazy day. Hopefully you guys Thanks for joining me. I know sometimes it's a little crazy, but I had fun with you guys. It was absolutely cool finding new tools and new features on the social assistant. If you guys have any follow-up questions on the social assistant, email me. I will check my email today for any questions, just knowing it's a timed deal. So if you have any questions, problems, let me know. Thank you guys for joining me. We will be back next Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern answering all your questions, and we'll see you then. Bye, everybody.